Hello everyone and welcome back to Joy's Creative Finger. In today's video I have built a small old manor, and it's supposed to be an old building that's been around for hundreds of years. It was inherited by the lady you see here taking care of the garden. Her name is Lily Rivers and she got it from her great aunt. So I absolutely love this house. There's an AR story included. Stay tuned for it. It's in the middle somewhere, and there are also AR shots of some of the parts of the houses as we carry on with the tour. So this house, as you see, is on a small plot, and I put a lot of love into it. Now I chose to place these lovely floral pieces against the stone. It feels as though the stone is budding flowers, and I just love that idea, you know. And then of course it's got the creeping ivy, and I've layered it with planter boxes so it looks even more dense. And then you've got the gardening to the front, and then there is this section here at the top where there is a balcony that is shaded. You know, it's enclosed but it's a balcony, so the entire area where you see the bay windows, that's a balcony. Okay, now it's a T-shaped house, a small house on a small plot. For those of you who keep on asking for small houses, I had fun building this one. It's so cute. I love the story of the girl who lives here, and I just really took my time to give it what I thought it would need to fit the story that I tell. Okay, this is the back part of the house. More creeping ivy as you can expect, a door leading out from the kitchen, and you can see how I layered this area with a planter box against the creeping ivy so it looks even thicker. And as I say, I don't glitch in my builds anymore, so it's made it so much more easier for me to build houses very quickly, do what I want with it, change things around as much as I want without the fear of losing a whole glitch process and having to start again. It's quite a headache. So this is so much easier for me, and I know a number of you are so happy about that. And I go ahead to upload this to the Architect tab too. As to whether it makes it onto the tab is a whole nother story. So this is Lily Rivers' car. And she's parked it in the entrance here, so it's a large space, and you can see how I tucked in some of these hedges into these little rooms, which are supposed to be the exterior of the house. I just wanted it that way. I wanted it to really feel full of plants and green. So this is the entrance here, as said before. I couldn't resist using these doors. I really love those doors. There's a little entry space here with a sculpture, and it's clean and clear. Again, it's a small house, so I didn't want to clutter it, but I still went ahead to fill it up. There's a coat hanger, and you can see the tip of the stairs right there. But before that section, you make your way into the kitchen, and yes, I did use the two-door units. They are the best in the game in my opinion. There are two options. They were part of a pay pack. I had to have it and I really love the way it looks in this space. This is the other part of the section of the kitchen where you wash your hands and cook the food. And this is Lily Rivers, who's just popped in while we have a nice AR view of this section of the kitchen. See, in AR it looked a lot larger, and if you look at it in this view you might think it's quite cozy, but it's a nice space. When you get through this section here, there's a fridge. I like the way it looks, a little bit like a dump. That's what I wanted somehow. And then you've got a section for the washing machine, some of the fruits and herbs and so on, just kept in inappropriate places. You know, it's that part of the house where your guests don't exactly pop around to. You've got your aprons on the wall here, and then right out that door you've got the wheelie bin sectioned in this corner. Now there are some nooks and crannies in the exterior of the build. I really wanted that. In the front I put hedges in the back I left them bare. You might want to put in a pizza oven or something. At the back here she's got a little garden where she could take some fruits into the house, eat it, and then she has an area to sit down against the chimney, and I covered up the chimney with some budding fences as well just to make it pretty, but it's purely decorative. There isn't a fireplace in the back or inside of the house in this position. Okay, now we're going to head back into the house. So you've seen this section as you walk in from the front door, the kitchen, the back part where the laundry is, the garden. And when you come back in here, you can see the staircase leading up to the private part of the house. And then you come into the dining room here. Remember, she lives here alone. all by herself, and I'll explain why in the story and how that came to be. But this is my favorite dining unit in the game as far as traditional styles go. I love this color option. It's gorgeous. Okay, they've got a great view of the garden, the fruits on the trees there. There's a little chandelier here, and there's a unit cupboard on the wall with teapots and cups and saucers and things like that. There is a restroom situated in this section here, so a chest of drawers, drinks, and a little door leading into a nook before a restroom. Now, it's an easy access way from when you come in the house. You just come all the way through this way and through that lovely Moroccan door, and this is what I have placed in here. It's a two-door countertop and sink. I think it's absolutely lovely. I love the handles on the drawers, and yeah, this is what I put together for the restroom downstairs for easy access. And that's a little window, a towel, and so on. Okay, so wrapping your way around, coming out into that dining section and into the living room, everything has been left the way it was 10 years ago, since her grand aunt died and handed this house over to her. Now, as far as placement of pictures, I love the idea that these pictures can go behind these bookshelves. I did it in the private island video last week, so you can see that the other side of the 4 pieces is on this end, so it's like a collection of different pictures around the house. And this is where the seating area is, in this little angle here, and then an art piece on the wall and a fabulous rug matching the one in the dining room. Okay, so here's an AR view of what it looks like. She's just come out from the kitchen, she's come past the stairs, past the dining room, into the teapot selection here to make herself a cup of tea. That's the fireplace. I think it looks fantastic. She can sit down on this lovely chair, put her feet up. This is another angle of the living room. I think it's gorgeous, and you can imagine it looks like a really small house, but inside it's a realistic footprint in size. I think it's really interesting when you use AR to view these properties. Okay, so I'm going to give you a very quick overview of this ground floor, because I won't be furnishing in the live build towards the end. You will obviously get the shell, and then you can, with what you've seen here, lay out your own pieces of furniture the way that you want. Okay, so the next part to visit is the last floor upstairs, and I use the Moroccan stairs. The one with the white railing is my favorite. It's just very soft when it's on the inside. Those railings are great. There's a mirror up on the wall here, and a number of doors to different sections of the house. This is the bathroom, the family bathroom upstairs. It's a small house, but still a tub, a sink, toilet unit matching the wooden floor, the worn out door. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, and then there's a door on both sides of this seating area, and I thought it was quite nice to put a seating area here. It made the space feel a lot more cozy. Now, the first door on the side here leads into a nursery, and now you're wondering, why is there a nursery? Did her grand aunt have a child? No, she never did. She had a grand niece, which is Lily Rivers, who lives here, who's now inherited this house. But what used to be here was the hobby room for her grand aunt. She engaged in the knitting hobby, that little rocking chair, and she would knit mittens, woolly hats, quilts, and so on. There's a little princess bed in this corner here, and this setup was put together by Lily Rivers. Now you wonder, why is that? Why does Lily Rivers have a nursery set up with no child? 10 years ago, Lily lived in Paris in a small apartment right down the end of Market Street. She was a student of art. She was very colorful, very happy, a free spirit. She loved to draw, sculpt, paint, you name it. She was a very happy and single young girl. Her art dealer would stop by every now and again, deliver sculpting pieces, paint brushes, paper, canvas, you name it. He'll sit down, help himself to a bottle of water, and then he'll head on out. But something about today was different. It was special. Perhaps the way the sun caught her eye. He thought she was very pretty. He came further into her apartment, sat down, and carried on drinking his bottle of water.
What a beautiful girl. I must make a move. It's now or never.
How lovely. Come here.
You you have captured in my heart.
Andrea Lafont disappeared the very next morning, and it's been 9 months ever since he, in his words, had her, as you would a cup of tea, or perhaps a tasty dish. Lily Rivers was heartbroken, not only because she became pregnant, but it was the very first time she had made love to a man. She was devastated, and she had a very difficult pregnancy, and this was partly because she kept it a secret and didn't want help from anyone, not her neighbors, not her friends. Lily hardly ever left the apartment, and when she absolutely had to, she would wear oversized clothes, huge jackets, and anything she could use to cover up the fact that she was pregnant. She was so ashamed. And when she received an email informing her that her great aunt, her only living relative, was critically ill and wanted to see her, she came up with an excuse not to visit. She was devastated. Eventually, she had her baby that month and started to grapple with the idea of motherhood. She didn't realize she was suffering from postnatal depression. One minute she would think she was doing quite well, and then the very next minute she would completely fall apart and become teary and distant. It was exacerbated by the fact that she was confined to this apartment and had no money or know-how on how to raise a child. When the baby was only a few days old, she snuck off to the beach to get some air. It was lovely. It was wonderful. But just then, she had another very severe attack of postnatal depression. In that single moment of distress, Lily Rivers abandoned her baby. The following morning, she went to make a long-distance call to find out how her aunt was doing. She had no idea she had passed.
Well, she left you the beautiful manor and some savings. The keys will be here when you return.
This meant she could look after her child. There's a beautiful little lovely manor and some money to raise her. She headed to the beach. She scoured to and fro, searching, and couldn't find a sign of her. She didn't realize that she was spotted by a couple who saw her abandon the baby. They waited for hours and hours, and in the early hours of the morning, they took the child and headed back into the ocean, and have raised the child on their private island for the past 10 years. Her name is now Paige Towers. Paige is living a very lovely life and has no idea that her real biological mother is in distress looking for her. And she, Lily, is still very hopeful that one day the police would give her a phone call and say there's a lead or something. The girl is still on milk boxes, missing with, new photographs of what she might look like today at 10 years old. There is a closet in here behind those doors, and this used to be the room that Lily would stay in when she visited her grand aunt. This is also the computer that she would study at. What she does in this room is pop in here to still see what's going on regarding the search, a 10-year-old search for a daughter that she abandoned, which was a secret, but she told the police that she only left the child for a minute and she was gone. So it's a follow-on from the Private Island story. This is her, or was her, room, but now she stays in the master bedroom because this is her house now. She's changed it up a little bit, put in a fresh lick of color, and it's very fresh and bright in here, which is quite close to her taste. If you remember her apartment in Paris, bright colors, but she kept this traditional bed. She loves the couches to the left and right of it. And it's a really nice big room for this very small old manor. Okay, now it also has its own closet space. So behind these worn doors there is a rack of clothing, and then you've got this very beautiful Tudor vanity desk that has its matching bed and some wall lights too, but I didn't use the bed in here. I just didn't want to. I prefer the one that's in here. There is a master bathroom obviously for this bedroom, and I love the flooring, the worn doors, and these doors are part of the Desert Oasis live event. I really love them. Across the way is a very special room that is attached to this space. Well, not a room, it's a balcony. So you open this door and you come right into this open balcony space, and she's basically converted this space into her own little studio. She's got an easel to draw. She gets inspiration looking out from this balcony, a fireplace to keep warm if it's a bit chilly out here, a desk where she's got lamps, potted plants and so on, and she can come out here and carry on sculpting the way she always did when she lived in Paris. Well, I wonder what you would use this space for should you recreate this house. When building this section of the house, was focusing on the exterior of the property, and then I realized when building that there was no access way to this room. I didn't know what to use this room for, and I didn't want to make a big huge closet, so I stuck with this idea and I absolutely love it. Now, the nighttime view of these vines reveal that they light up somehow. There is a glow to them. I have never realized this. With all the houses that I've built with vines, I probably haven't come back to see the house at nighttime, or maybe I've got a weather machine that's kept it at daytime the whole time, so I never get to see. And so somehow I just went into night mode, and when I saw this I thought, gosh, this looks magical. So anyway, if you have seen this before, let me know in the comments down below. I haven't. I have to build something magical or dreamy or some fairy house or something, because the lighting up of these vines are fantastic. Anyway, thank you so very much for watching. Stay tuned for the live build. It's a very quick one, and I hope that you're able to recreate it, make it your own, and don't forget to use the hashtag JoyceCreativeFinger when uploading it to any social media platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so on. Have a great weekend. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon in the next video. Take care. Bye.